All right, so for homework turn-in, I think that it's critical that you take a look at the schedule down below here where you can find out more information on what is assigned in a certain week. So if we click on this tab here, we can take a look at the different materials that you need to review for that particular week. And you need to understand that the weeks start on a Tuesday and then they are due on that following day, which is also the date that's located here. Okay. And then what you need to do is basically you need to review all the content in here. And then from below the due date, these are the things that you need to turn in that are assigned. So you need to look at the lecture and click on the example. Look at the lecture, click on the example. Okay. So first of all, we're going to take a look at the assignment sheet so you get a sense for it. And basically it'll give you objectives, the process, where you can find the lessons, how you'll be evaluated for the project, how homework is accounted into your grade sheet and evaluation for the project. And then it'll give you an overview of the process and then the final deliverables that you'll need to turn in. Okay, so make sure and take a look at that. And then the grade sheet. And basically with the grade sheet, you have different areas that are evaluated and it's on a 5-point scale. And what I do for the homework, as I mentioned before, is that I go through the week 1 through 3, for example, on this rubric, and I take the average of those scores that you got, and they're only used and evaluated here. Okay, so even though I'm grading them as I go, they aren't counted anywhere else but here on the grade sheet. And then I do weeks 4 through 6, the average of that, and then for the face-to-face critique, and then we also do the final submission here. Okay, so I grade you in all these areas and check off whether you did excellent, good, average in those areas, and you're evaluated for the homework part, the client documentation part, and then also the navigation trunk test, which you'll learn more about in your textbook, and then also the design aspect, just overall aesthetically how it looks. Okay, so I'll go ahead and close out of that. And then the student example, so you get a sense for how the entire project plays out, how it's going to look, how many components there are to it. Okay, executed, okay, and all the components that you're going to be working on over the next 8 weeks for the first project, and then the last 8 weeks during the second project. All right, so for example, you would look at the student example here, and it tells you all the components, what's going to be due as part of the client documentation, and you'll be working on these at different weeks at a time. And then the web site design, and these are just examples. These will vary based on the project, okay? And then this is the client documentation here. Design brief, the user profiles, functional specifications, the site maps, the wireframes that are due, and then the actual website designs that you'll be doing. Okay, and a project like this would take 8 weeks, okay, for the documentation and then also for the final design. So I'll go ahead and close out of that. And then what you would find is that you're going to have different topics that you're going to be learning about, and then these are also not only just topics that you learn about, they're actual parts of your assignments. So this is the first part of the assignment, second part of the assignment, third part of the assignment that's due in the first week. And what I'll basically do here is you have lectures, and under client selection it gives you some brief overview about what that means. Okay, so it's just a quick lecture. It gives you some examples of what kind of clients you can choose, okay? And then it'll give you an example of what the client selection actually looks like, and that's basically just a cover page, and I tell you what content is required, okay? Same thing, user profiles. I give you a brief lecture on user profiles, okay? The areas that you should touch on, and then user profiles, for example. These are the different things that you would discuss on when you do one user profile, and you actually have to do 3 different user profiles. Okay, so I'll go ahead and close out of that. Creative brief, same thing. Review the lecture. And then the creative brief is an example, and you need to create your own. And all of this is for the first assignment and whatever client you end up selecting, okay? Then when you're done reviewing all of this information, what you're going to want to go into see week 1 La Lima assignments turn-in details, and you're going to go ahead and click on it. And it'll prompt you to log in. I'm going to go to student view mode so you can see what you would see. And there's usually a list of assignments. Now I open them week by week. There's a bit of an overlap because I allow you to turn in projects up to 2 days late with a 1-point doc, and then thereafter 2 points. You need to get permission to do that so the assignment is not automatically open. And anyway, so you select the first one since we were on week 1. And in here, basically, it will give you a summary of when the assignment is open, when it's due, what it is, and then instructions for what it is that you have to submit and how you have to save your files named, okay? So basically here, it tells you to post these as separate PDFs to your website, okay? And it tells you how to name them. Now, this website that we're talking about, this your website, or your personal website, you'll hear it referred as. This is something that the instructor in Art 128, I believe it'll be Chris Gargiulo, is going to teach you how to set up when you set it up for his class as well. Now, if you're not taking Art 128 this semester, or you haven't taken it in the past, then that's something you want to contact me about so I can give you instructions, or I can refer you to go see a person who can help you set that up, because you will need a domain name and server space for this. And in terms of posting your PDFs to your website, I do give you how to name your files, as I mentioned. I'm going to go ahead and reduce this. And then these are the list of websites that are the student websites. You'll notice there is also a student example here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And in here, basically, you're going to need to set up a page like this that says week 1, when it's due. This is all project 1 right here. Okay. And you would set up the 3 items that I asked you for to post for that week. Name it client selection, creative brief, user profiles. But when you post it to that, the file name that you would be using, then click here, would be the specified name here. And the reason that I ask you to name them in a certain way here is because this would facilitate when you start adding new files or new versions of the files. I tell you how to change the name so that it shows the version that you're on, so that you always have the older version and the most current version, okay? And that's just a habit that you want to get into so that you can track your progress. And, you know, sometimes an earlier version will be better than the second version, so I might refer you back to the first version. So you need to change your file name so that you're not replacing the files as you start loading them onto your website. Okay, so save them as they're instructed here. The other thing is this is very parallel to what you will do in the real world. You'd be surprised how particular a design company is about how you name your files. Okay, and especially when it comes down to archiving the work for future use or for future reference for the client, how you name your files is very, very important. And then it tells you to post the originals, the InDesign, the layered files, into this actual assignment by attaching it. And the reason for this is because if we were in the classroom, I would be able to look at your original files and know whether or not you were on the right track in terms of setting them up and building your files correctly. But because I'm not in the class, I don't have that advantage to do that inside the classroom. So every time you post your stuff to the website for others to see as JPEGs or PDF, you still need to submit the original inside Laulima so that I can take a look at it and see if you're structuring things correctly. The other reason is because when I provide feedback to you, sometimes I like to play around with your file to see if certain things would work so that I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so make sure that you post the originals if that's what it's asking you for. And this will be pretty standard. You'll post something to the website and you'll post something to the assignment, okay? And in terms of posting your original file here to this assignment, you basically would need to just scroll down, and in this box you can type in any questions or concerns. I let you know here that you need feedback on, and you can put them in here, okay? So you can type anything you want to type in here, and then the attachments that I ask you for, which in this case is the original InDesign document named in this format. See how it says week 1? Because the next week you might call it week 2 or week 3, okay? You just load that here, and what you need to do is you just go and you choose the file, you select it, you hit choose, and then basically you hit submit. When you hit submit, what will happen is it will send you a notification letting you know that it has been successfully submitted. So make sure and check your email just to make sure that you got that notification. It goes to your UH email or wherever you forwarded that to, just to confirm that it went through. And then what happens on my end is that when the due date has passed, I will go and look at them the following day, and then I'll submit feedback to you. And then you'll receive a notification letting you know that I've graded it. It'll be an automatic notification from Laulima letting you know that I've graded your assignment. It's been released to you. You can just go back into the assignment, and what it'll allow you to do is at the very bottom, towards the bottom of the assignment, it'll say instructor feedback. Okay, so you want to go there and take a look at the feedback so that you know what you need to improve or what you need to modify to that assignment. Okay, if it's incomplete, A lot of times I'll give you the opportunity to turn in for at least partial credit, and I'll leave the assignment open for you to return whatever components in that feedback. So it's essential. I usually only give you a day or so to turn in that information from when I grade it. So it's essential to read that feedback as soon as possible so you have time to complete it and return it. Okay? All right. Now, that's the same thing on critique weeks. You still go to the assignment to check. I'm going to go to a critique week here, for example, this critique here. Okay. And basically, I tell you to go to the assignment and look at the critique instructions. So we're going to go to week 6 in La Lima. Okay. And I look at it here, week 6. I'm just going to go ahead and click on it. And the same thing, it'll tell you what to post the separate JPEGs to your website, tell you how to name them. I tell you what original Photoshop documents to upload to this assignment here. And then the difference with the critiques is that different weeks, depending on the nature of the critique, whether it's one-on-one with me, face-to-face via Skype, or online with the whole class, I give you different instructions. And so step 3 would be on the following day before 11:55 p.m. of the following day after your stuff is due. You want to go in there and you want to comment on the work of 3 peers, okay, in this round 2 critique. Okay, you're going to name the peers you are critiquing. Okay, so you put down their name. You praise what they've done well, and you provide suggestions for improvement. Okay, so 1 positive comment, 1 negative comment. I guess you could see it as that. There's an example in discussions that you can take a look at. I'm going to go ahead and go there. You'll notice any topics that are up for critique here, you would click on, say, design round 1 that week. That you have to turn that in, and you can just click in here. It says critique instructions, post your critique reply here. And then basically what would happen is that you'd take a look at all your peers' work here. Okay, like the student example, you'd go to week, whatever that week was here. And then once you've taken a look at the work, then what you would do is you would comment on the work of 3 peers. And here's an example down here. So basically you would post a reply, and then you would enter the peer's first name and last name that you're critiquing, and then you'd add 1 positive thing that they're doing well, and then 1 thing that they could improve, and you'd do that for 3 of your peers. Now, the suggestion is always that if you see a lot of people are already getting comments and stuff, then you can try just commenting on the work of someone else, okay? So we're going to go ahead and get out of here. And that's pretty much it. That's how you turn in homework. You either upload it to La Lima, you post it to your website, and during critiques, you may post it to discussions. Okay? All right, if you have any questions, please make sure to contact me.